Hi there, hope you're having a wonderful day. Right now you're looking up at the beautiful blue sky, and there looks to be a cloud there as well. The beautiful blue sky that flat earthers mistakenly claim is a firmament or a dome. And while we're looking up at the beautiful sky, I'm going to read you 21 proofs or 21 pieces of evidence that show that the earth is not flat. Okay, so number one, the stars rotate around a point in the southern sky called the South Celestial Pole. Now, using the standard and accepted flat earth model, where everything revolves around a central point in the northern part of the sky, there's a conflict there. Reality, the stars revolving around a central point in the south when you're in the southern hemisphere, does not fit that flat earth model. So that's the first thing that you need to look at when you say the earth is flat. Number two, if you look at the stars every night at exactly the same time, so you might pick 8 o'clock at night, the stars will rotate by just under 1 degree each night until you get to exactly a full year, 365 days, and then the stars will be back to the same position. This shows that the earth actually orbits the sun and is not stationary. Number three, with the sun and the moon both visible in the sky, you can hold a ball up to the moon and the lit portion of the ball will be pretty much exactly the same as the lit portion of the moon. This shows that the moon is in fact illuminated by the sun and not self-illuminating. Number four, you can buy a plane ticket to Antarctica. You can get on a boat and go to Antarctica. You can do many things like join a scientific expedition to Antarctica and go there and do some research and everything, and stay at one of the scientific research facilities there that are very close to the South Pole and see it all for yourself. Number five, satellite technology works in deep valleys, in remote and arid and unpopulated areas where there is no other service available. I've been into many places, many areas, and I'll be going to some areas in the near future where there is absolutely no mobile phone service, there is no TV service, there is no radio service, unless you actually go onto like ham radio or shortwave radio, maybe some AM broadcast may reach that area maybe of a night, but it's a very remote location, and satellite technology still works there. Satellite phones still work. They don't work all the time, of course, because communication satellites for satellite phone reception are not geostationary, so they'll pass over and you'll have service and then you won't have service, and that's just how it is. Satellites are real. Satellites are actually up there, whether you like it or not. You can say that they're balloons and all sorts of crap, but I know that that's bullshit. Number six, satellite dishes need to be accurately aligned with their signal source. Balloons would not be stable enough to provide the continuous service that geostationary satellites provide, like your satellite TV and things like that. Number 7. The ISS can be seen in unpopulated and arid areas passing over. Now, why would they fly the fake ISS that flat earthers claim over unpopulated areas? It just doesn't make any sense. It's like a waste of fuel. They just fly across the middle of Australia and in the desert where there's hardly anybody, probably nobody around. No, the ISS is a satellite. It's the real deal. You can see it pass over. There's no conspiracy. The ISS is real. It's a satellite. It's a manned satellite. Number 8, the retrograde motion of Mars. As Mars and us get close together, because of the way the orbits are, Mars will actually appear to go backwards across the sky for a short period and then turn around and go back. This proves that we are in orbit around the Sun again, and that Mars is in orbit around the Sun also. Number 9. Venus and Mercury are never seen going overhead during the night. They do, however, pass over during the day, and that's because they don't get that far away from the Sun, because they're in a closer orbit to the Sun than we are. So you will never see the Sun set and Venus or Mercury appear in the eastern sky, because they are in a closer orbit around the Sun than us. Thus, we will never see them appear in that part of the sky. It's impossible. This proves that we are again in orbit around the Sun. Number 10. Meteors would punch a hole in the dome. Now, meteorites, which are what meteors are, whereas a meteor is the event itself where you see the rock burning up in the Earth's atmosphere as it enters at unbelievable speeds. A meteorite is the piece, or a piece of something that fell to Earth and is on the ground. They're not falling stars. They're not anything crazy like that. I've never seen a star fall out of the sky and have a constellation remain there with a star missing. I've seen stars go supernova. There was one many years ago that went supernova, I believe in Orion, and it's now very faint. But meteorites are real, meteors are real, and they would punch a hole in the dome. Again, flat Earth is a fairy tale. Number 11, which I just touched on with number 10. Meteors occasionally make it to the ground, where they are found to be made of rock. Flat Earth explanation for that, please. Number 12. Ships are seen to go over the horizon. Red's Rhetoric has done quite a few videos on this, showing that ships do in fact go over the horizon, and the bottom of the ship disappears before the top as it goes down over the curvature of the Earth, proving that the Earth is indeed a sphere. Number 13. The Sun does not appear to shrink as it goes over the horizon. It in fact stays exactly the same size. If anything, it may appear slightly larger due to some lensing caused by the sun's light going through the atmosphere. If the Earth was flat and that model where the sun just goes round and round was the case, we'd see the sun take a sharp turn towards the north on both sunrise and sunset, and we'd also see it get larger and smaller, and it'd be at its largest size at midday. This is all hocus pocus, it's all crap. The sun remains pretty much the same angular size to us wherever it is in the sky. The Earth, again, is probably spherical. Number 14. The moon does not appear to shrink as it goes down over the horizon. Anybody can see that. The moon doesn't take a curve towards the north either on sunrise and sunset. The moon pretty much remains the same size, and if anything appears slightly larger as it's closer to the ground due to that lensing effect of the atmosphere. Again, flat Earth models do not work. The Earth is a sphere, the moon is a sphere, the sun is a sphere. Flat Earth is a fallacy. Number 15. Solar eclipse. Solar eclipses only ever happen on a new moon. That's because the moon is actually going between us and the sun and blocking out the sun's light. I've never heard of a single event where an eclipse happens under any other circumstance other than a new moon. Again, flat Earth debunked on another level again. Number 16. Lunar eclipses only ever happen on a full moon. You will never see a lunar eclipse on anything other than a full moon, because the shadowing that happens on the moon is caused by the Earth. The Earth going between the sun and the moon. Again, this supports the spherical Earth model, does not support flat Earth model whatsoever. How do they explain these phenomena? Quite often, the simplest answer is the best answer, and that the Earth going between the sun and the moon to cause a lunar eclipse is probably the best answer, the most simple answer. Number 17. The silhouette during, or the shadow during a lunar eclipse appears to be curved, and if indeed it is the Earth going between the sun and the moon, that curve would be the silhouette of the edge of the Earth, indicating that the Earth is indeed curved, or at least a circular shape or a round shape. Number 18. The shadow cast on the moon during a lunar eclipse appears to be a larger arc than what the moon is, indicating that it may well be the shape of the Earth, indicating that the Earth is probably quite a bit larger than the moon. Again, this supports spherical Earth and puts flat Earth into refute. Number 19. The sun's light can still be seen illuminating the clouds after sunset. If the Earth was flat and it was all about distances and whatnot that causes the sun's light not to make it to us, this wouldn't happen. The clouds would not be illuminated, they would go dark at the same time as the ground does. This again supports the spherical Earth model, disputes flat Earth models. Number 20. Satellites can be seen passing over wherever you are on the Earth, but they can only be seen a few hours after sunset and a few hours before sunrise, and they can often be seen disappearing behind the Earth's shadow. This again supports the spherical Earth model and refutes the flat Earth model. Number 21. Every single significant celestial body appears to be a sphere. If the Earth is a significant celestial body, or a significant part of that system, it will be a sphere also, you can assume. So when we look at the sun, it appears to be a sphere. When we look at the moon, it appears to be a sphere. If you look at Venus through a powerful telescope from Earth, because I've done it, it will appear to be a sphere. Even with Venus, you can see with a pair of binoculars at the right time that it will make a crescent, much like the moon does, much like the sun hitting a ball at an angle, with the observer being at an angle to that light source. Mars kind of appears to be spherical, although it's a little bit hard to tell, but it does have polar ice caps which are visible from Earth when it is close enough to us. Jupiter appears to be a spherical body that is rotating. From Earth you can see that dark spot which appears to be some sort of storm. And Saturn is more than likely a spherical body as well from my observations. So looking at all of those, it would be fairly safe to assume, when you look at all of the information, like that, you know, that you can gather yourself without actually relying on, you know, NASA or any of those guys. You can assume that the Earth is probably a spherical body as well. So in summary, I've got this to say, or in conclusion, I've got this to say. Flat Earth is definitely a belief, and that's all it is. I've figured it out. And Flat Earth is a bedtime story, a figment of people's imagination, a product of religion and a product of paranoid delusions. Any other conclusion clearly falls into one of the above explanations. Based on basic observations, anyone can easily conclude that the Earth is not flat. Flat Earth will not and never will be the accepted shape of the Earth, because facts do not lie. Only when belief systems, religion and delusion are introduced do you see individuals coming to false conclusions because they disregard observations that conflict with their belief, religion or delusion, and construct false explanations to account for what they see to fit what they believe. Either you are privy to these facts and you can look at the world without preconception, or you are doomed to play the belief game. The choice is yours. All the best. Have a great day. I'll see you later.